Hello, I'm going to give my presentation on Pastor Chuck Smith of the Calvary Chapel movement in Southern California. Chuck Smith was born in 1927 in Ventura, California. He attended Life Bible College and was then pastor in the four-store churches for about 17 years before, in 1965, he took over a small local church in Santa Ana, California. His membership was about 25 people when he took over, but within a couple years had reached into the hundreds. They moved to a new location in 1971 where he's known for having given sermons in a tent until a new building could be built, where they actually still give services today. As far as theology is concerned, he was very Bible-based. He was very insistent upon this. His preaching pattern was to go through the entire Bible verse by verse, from Genesis to Revelation. So a typical parishioner, if you spent your life there, would go through the whole Bible 4 or 5 times. They were very much emphasis was placed on a pre-millennial dispensationalism and prophetic just importance. They encouraged daily Bible reading and personal growth. This very personal relationship was very important. They agreed with certain charismatic practices like faith healing and speaking in tongues, but they did not emphasize this in their sermons because they didn't want that to take center stage. Some downsides, though, to the Calvary Chapel movement were they very much distrusted other denominations, any denomination really. They called themselves non-denominational, and I think they still do. There was no real respect for the legacy and traditions of the Christian church. There was very much a feeling of, if you do not believe everything that Calvary Chapel believes, then you are not a Christian. And I know this for a fact because I was a student there from kindergarten through 12th grade, and my family attended services there from before I was born until after I graduated college when we moved to a local Baptist church. Personality-wise, Pastor Chuck was very laid back, very kindly, very calm, very, very humble. That was something that everybody could agree on. He really built his church in the 60s by speaking to the hippies, the surfers, the counterculture in Southern California, and he ended up making a very uniquely Californian, not Christianity, but like a form of worship and preaching. He was very instrumental in the Jesus movement of the 70s. And then those people in turn had like their children, or the people I grew up with, the people who were the original members of this church. He was known for, you would just see him driving around in a golf cart picking up trash, just like it was expected of the senior pastor, one of the largest churches in America, would just do that every day. You'd see him. He never ever turned away anyone who wanted to hear the gospel. If he did not personally have time to talk to someone, he would make sure that he found someone who did right then for you. His legacy really can't be overstated, especially in Orange County. He left behind dozens of books, a worldwide radio broadcasting ministry house out of the Logos building, which is on the campus, Maranatha Music, headlined by Love Song, and you still see their songs in hymn books for other denominations all across the country. For children, they made many characters, but most memorable is Salty the Singing Songbook, who still occasionally haunts my nightmares. And then, of course, the schools. At Calvary Chapel Costa Mesa alone, which is known as the Big Calvary among Calvary Chapels, there's, when I attended, about 1,500 students. Now it's about 1,200, but that's still for a private Christian school, that's quite a bit. And then there's, around the country, there's over 1,000 churches in America of Calvary Chapels, and then around 350 throughout the world. When Pastor Chuck died in 2013, I still remember this, his funeral was attended by thousands of people. They actually had it at a local sports arena in Anaheim, and it sold out. Like, there was no room. We actually watched the live stream on the internet that was broadcast to the entire world. There was also, more locally, a paddle out, which is a surfer's farewell, where hundreds of people came down to the beach and gathered in a circle to just honor his life and his memory and sing praise and quote the Bible just in the ocean for anyone to see, because that was where a lot of his early ministry began, was just on the beaches of Southern California. The church, Calvary Chapel, is the big church, again, Costa Mesa, which, fun fact, is actually in Santa Ana, California, is now led by his son-in-law, Brian Broderson, and currently he is placing more emphasis on global missions than local missions, and there's been a little bit of discontent among the leadership of the church, so we'll see how that changes things moving forward, and yeah.